Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second meeting of June 2020 for the Lawrence County Council. On behalf of the council, I would like to welcome you this evening. This time I will call the meeting to order. I will invite you to stand for the invocation provided by Councilman Yachts, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Oh God, we're grateful to stay blessed with you. Oh, we pray that you bless us another day tomorrow. We're grateful, Lord, for all things that you give. Lord, we ask that you be with our county, be with our state, and be with our nation. Lord, we're being tried right now. We ask that you make our prayer life strong. We ask, Lord, that you give us the faith that we need to get through the times that's going on. You know, through your word, we don't pray. We don't have faith. You aren't going to do anything to help us. Give us that faith, Lord. Give us courage. We ask that you do these things and you our world and our nation. Blood of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, I would ask you to please speak into your microphone clearly as we proceed with the meeting. Next is the approval of the agenda that has been submitted. There is one item under new business. I would like to add discussion of public meetings. That would be item number 8. Are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the agenda with the added order of business.
There's a motion by Ms. Anderson. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is the approval of the minutes dated June 9th, 2020 for the Council Committee on Health, Welfare, and Public Safety. Is there a recommendation to approve the minutes as submitted? Second. Motion by Mr. Carroll, and second by Mr. McDaniel. Any additions or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting dated June 9th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? Motion by Mr. Patterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? Any additions or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is a report to council. First up is our fiscal year 1920, month 11 financial report provided by our finance director, Ms. Kirk. Ms. Kirk. Ms. Kirk, if you would be sure that both microphones are on, please speak loudly so that the camera can pick you up, please.
Okay, can everybody hear me? First of all, before I get into the financial report, I just want to take a moment to say thank you very much for what y'all did for our department last week. And, as far as attending HR, it was very much appreciated. As far as the financial report, everything is online. The check registers are online. The credit card transactions are online. We are well within our range. 92% revenue is where we should be right now, and that is exactly the percentage that we have. And we still are awaiting the last quarter of all state revenues that will not come in until probably the end of July, maybe in August. We're at 89% used of our budgeted expenditures, which is well below the 92%. The areas that are down, victims assistance is down revenue-wise due to COVID-19, and they're not being court because we with our money from the fines and fees part of that. Most of our state fund revenue has been delayed even further than normal, which is usually 30 days after a quarter before we receive it, and we're looking at anywhere from 45 to 60 days before it actually comes in. And as far as the fee load, you'll notice that it's down under budget. But Ms. Burke informed me yesterday that we have received our manufacturer's money from the state, and that there would be approximately $410,000 added to that fee load figure. So that's going to put us well within budget.
You're referencing the fee and lieu of tax. Are you on the revenue side?
Yes, sir. It currently shows that we are $600,000 off from what was budgeted, and that one figure is going to be 400.
I'm sorry, can you tell us what line item that is? Or,
It would be 110, 311, 31140, 31140 fee load, where we budgeted 3.3 million. And currently we had only received almost 2.7. We're going to, during the month of June, we'll book another 410 on top of that.
thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions, Ms. Kirk? The revenue or expenditure?
Are you getting any feedback from the state as to when our money will arrive? Are you getting any feedback?
No, ma'am, not as of yet. We have completed the reporting that they needed us to complete and submitted it, but we haven't heard anything from them yet as far as my office.
Thank
Thank you, Ms. Kirk.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Capital Project Sales Tax Committee report to council. This time I would like to recognize the chairman of that committee, Mr. Walter Hughes.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for letting me join remotely. We're having a little technical issues with displaying on my screen, but I believe
Hang
everybody
on,
should.
we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this any better?
No. Rossi, where are you? Amy.
Right in. Did you figure out how we can share PowerPoint? That's the audit. Speak. Walter.
Yes, sir.
Speak.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
There we go.
There's feedback on me. I'm going to cut my microphone.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm not able to share my screen, but I believe everybody should have a printout of the presentation. And I believe Mr. Kamey said that we could display it there as well. But anyway, I appreciate the
Walter, hang on just a minute. We're gonna try to get
Oh,
Walter.
we- yes, sir.
You should be able to share.
Fantastic. All right, let's get it here. There we go. All right, so can everybody see what I'm saying now? All right, so this is what we came up with, and let's see here. So this is the capital project sales tax with our logo there. And the big ticket items is we came under budget at $34,898,100 were set within the proposed budget. And following this, I kind of wanted to give everyone the 1,000-foot view of all these projects so you could see what we worked with and collaborated on or ready to present to council. And this is in the priority that we ranked them. So the first ranked project was the proposed by the Lawrence County Parks and Recreation. Total cost came out to $1,727,500. It hits pretty much every corner of the county, and it's providing new playground equipment, picnic shelters, 3 sites for splash pads, as well as picnic tables, and I think that will be enjoyed by a lot of folks in the county. The number 2 that we came up, or that was proposed, excuse me, was the Clinton Public Library, and that total project cost was $4.3 million, and that's for a 12,000 square foot facility with modular design that they can adapt to unknown future needs. And this will also be able to hold community events in a large community room, as well as individual tutoring room accommodations, and also providing public.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
stop you for a minute. They're trying to get your screen shared. It's not sharing.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I just started running away with it. Let me see here.
It's not your fault. Hold on just a minute. Right. I tell you what, Walter, hang tight
Yes, sir.
while I'm working on that. We're gonna skip and go to the council report for Committee on Health, Welfare, and Public Safety, and we'll come back to you, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. This time I'll recognize the committee chairman, Councilman Gary McDaniel.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, the Committee on Health, Welfare, and Public Safety met on June 9th. And we unanimously decided to appoint the three individuals that are named listed in your packet, Mr. Lynn Chip Cooper, Mr. Walter Hughes III, and Mr. James Lattimore to the Prisma Health Healthcare Board of Trustees. A few of them had already been on board and are going back on another term. Once again, a 3-0 vote. So we would encourage council to go ahead and vote these people back in.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniel. Coming as a recommendation, it does not require a second from the committee. At this time, is there any discussion on the recommendation? Hearing none, we'll vote it as a slate of officers. All in favor of appointing these 3 individuals, Mr. Cooper, Mr. Hughes, and Mr. Lattimore, for this public board, the healthcare board, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0.
Mr. Chairman, we also just briefly discussed changing the schedules for our EMS department and EMS director, as well as Mr. Kane, here are supposed to get together and come back to us with some suggestions once they discuss it in more detail.
Okay. Are there any questions, Mr. McDaniel and his committee? Thank you, committee, for your service. Where are we, Mr. King?
Still working through the technical pieces.
Okay. We will go through on with the business and come back, Walter, for your report and then an action. So we will skip down to the Chamber of Commerce. Letter B under old business. This time I'll recognize the president and CEO of Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce, Amanda Money.
Hey there, thank you. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, thank you first of all for having me this evening. I believe that you have all the information hopefully in front of you. If you do not, I've got a couple of copies here as well, and I can certainly answer questions as I need to. Everything was sent out to you earlier. So I'm here this evening to request funding in the support of a micro grant for our local small businesses. It was recommended whenever we were here for the budget reading a few weeks ago by Chairman Pitts that that County Council consider doing a one-time grant to the chamber so that we're able to grant out to our small businesses. So I've put together the request and the proposal for all of you to consider this evening. So I will just hit the highlights because like I said, I think it's 37 pages total. In this packet is also the proposal that we're working on as a chamber to support our small businesses outside of financially in various ways that we're already doing, but we also have other plans to ramp that up and continue to promote the businesses and help them find resources of their own outside of these micro grants. So the thing is that whenever PPP came out, a lot of these small businesses were either not eligible or they were not prepared with their documentation to receive those funds. And so a lot of them fell through the cracks. And so with that, we're requesting that you all give us the funds to do a grant basically in-house. It would be administered through the Chamber of Commerce, but funded by County Council, which is all of you. So the proposal that I put here in front of you, we are proposing the employees be from 1 to 10 or 10 or less employees. 55% of our chamber membership does fall into that category. Now, this is not just a chamber membership driven initiative. This would be for all Lawrence County businesses because we ultimately want all of Lawrence County businesses to be successful. We just did the numbers based off of what our membership is. We would focus more on mom and pop. The proposal is to not exceed $1,500 per business. Now there's a full application here. The application covers more than just the request for funds. It would be beneficial to us because it gives all the contact information for the businesses, but it also goes into their basic information. It goes into the impact that they had by COVID, and it also goes into just some basic information about them doing business in Lawrence County as a whole. So it would be, the application itself would be beneficial at multi ways. And then there's the eligibility here, the requirements, and I'm not sure how much detail you all want me to go into, but if this is approved, I'd really like to try to push to get this funding to the small businesses by the end of July. I've got a timeline also attached to the information that was sent out to all of you that breaks down how this would be done. I'd like to put together a committee that has, of course, chamber representation on it, county council representation, the Main Street organizations, because they directly work with the small businesses in downtowns. And then those people on that committee would review the applications to make a final decision about how the funding would be spent. And then the proposal would request that by the end of October, those businesses report back to the Chamber of Commerce so that I'm able to compile that information and then report back to all of you how those funds were distributed and how they were used within the small business.
Thank you, Ms. Bunyan. You've heard the recommendation. I'll just go ahead and ask for a motion, and then we can have a discussion if we get a motion in a second. Is there a motion to appropriate $50,000 one-time expenditure from the fee in lieu of tax for economic development, or as described by Ms. Money? So motion by Mr. McDaniel and a second by Mr. Carroll. Now I'll open the floor for discussion. Any discussion? I'll begin with my right, your left, Mr. Carroll.
I think it's a great use of those funds that we have to support our county during this time with the small businesses backbone stuff.
Mr. McDaniel.
Definitely agree with Mr. Carroll. It's something we desperately need to do for our community, especially with everything going on. And I'd love to be a part of the board to decide who gets these funds.
Great.
Ms. Anderson,
Glad we got an opportunity to help.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Wood,
I think that,
Mr. Yant, Mr. Patterson.
my only question, and I think I asked it earlier, but I'll rephrase it this time, that there was a part in there about they have to turn a form in, say how they spend the money. Obviously, they turn a form in that says they spent it, but if somebody doesn't turn the form in, is there any recourse on the grant that you gave them, or?
I don't have any recourse planned. I also don't have that, so that submission prepared at this point. I really was waiting to see if it would be approved, and then I would hope that that committee that we'll put together to review the applications would help me and guide for the reporting process. So we will make sure that there's something in place.
Any others? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Amanda, I would like to thank you and the folks that have worked so diligently to put this together for our small businesses. I know it's not much, but it's certainly a step in the right direction, especially as businesses have suffered over these last 3 months. So thank you, and we look forward to progress with our small businesses and reporting back. And one of these council members would love to serve with you, and you just heard Mr. McDaniel. So, anyone else would like to serve? Please let Ms. Munyon know.
Yes, I will be reaching out. Thank you so much for all of your support. I know the businesses and the community will be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Rossi just gave me the sign that we are good to go back to Walter. And so Walter, I will return for your report to council at this time.
Fantastic. I think I've got it. There we go. All right. So y'all should be able to see my screen now. So like I said, big brass tacks, $34 million, or $34,898,000 and 130. Got it all tongue tied. $34,898,138 over a 6-year time frame with 16 proposals accepted. Number one being the Lawrence County Parks and Recreation, and that's $1,727,500. That hits parks in every single corner of the county, and that's providing new playground equipment, picnic shelters, splash pads in 3 locations, and tables at most locations. What we came up with for the next priority ranking was the Clinton Public Library, and that's a total budget ask of $4.3 million, and that provides for a 12,000 square foot facility on West Pitt Street in Clinton. It's a modular design that they can configure floor space for meeting unknown future demands. And it has the ability to hold community events in a large community room, as well as private tutoring rooms off to the side, as well as providing public computer access and internet access. And then next was where you currently are sitting, the historic courthouse. And what we did was kind of a hybrid phase 1. And what that is a budget of for the sake of simplicity, I'll just round these out to an ask of 3.6 million. And what that seeks to do is repairing the roof and external foundation, as well as, I'm trying to use the words Dale Satterfield used so I don't butcher it, but it's removing the insets that were added in 1970, and it replaces some of the exterior and brings it, or restores the exterior back to some of its original appearance. And the hybrid part is it's also providing for the installation of an interior elevator that's the American with Disabilities Act compliant to make easier access to the second story. And then the next priority ranking we have is the Agriculture and Business Center. And the total budget asked for that is roughly $8 million, $7,983,000. And what this is to taking the Lawrence County Fairgrounds, and it will provide space for an office along with livestock facilities. Main arena would have a spectator section with restrooms, concession stands, as well as a breezeway. Would be available to the public to host such things as livestock shows, flower shows, any other community-driven events. And the current exchange building will be used for educational workshops and other educational opportunities. Next up, we have the E911 radio upgrades. And this is a budget ask of roughly $2.5 million. And what was brought to our attention is that the current radios being used by our first responders have an end of life date of December 2019. And what this would do is equip first responders from fire, EMS, law enforcement, coroner's office, as well as emergency management, and bring them all up to the Palmetto 800 standard. And this allows for easier communication amongst all the different services and allow them to deliver service more efficiently, especially when they're not all having to call a dispatch and communicate with each other. They can all be on the same, no pun intended, the same wavelength. Let's see here. Next up, we have Lawrence County Airport, and what they're asking for is $500,000. And they're using this in combined funds from $500,000 also coming from the FAA, as well as $500,000 from the SC Aeronautics Commission. So it's a total project of $1.5 million, but 3 different revenue streams for that. And they're seeking to replace their current terminal building to allow for better service to public and industry partners. And this allows them to remain or to meet competitive standards in other regional airports. And like I said, that's the funds are being used in addition to 2 other revenue streams to achieve that. Next up, we had 2 separate proposals that we've combined into one. And this is the Veterans Monument from the Lawrence County Hall of Heroes, as well as the Memorial Park. Combined budget ask is $414,200. The proposed construction site is at the Lawrence Public Library on what I believe to be the northern lawn. And this includes an area for green space, a fountain, as well as a monument area. And I apologize, the image got slightly compressed there, but the green circle that you see in the middle upper, that would be the actual site for the monument area. And the blue, I believe that's Pentagon, yeah, that would be the fountain area. And the monuments will represent the branches of military service, as well as having a nice green space to draw the public there. Next up, we have Lawrence County Water and Sewer Commission Water Tower. And this was a budget ask of $1,994,755. And this is seeking to replace the water tower in Hickory Tavern to basically it allows for lesser variances in the water pressure. So that would allow them to achieve greater operational efficiencies while, like, as I just said, decreasing variances water pressure. And this will allow an improvement in infrastructure that would be sustainable as more residents are moving to this part of the county, and would provide better infrastructure support for that. Next, we have the Martha Denny Community Center. Total budget ask of $756,000. And this is the renovation of the former Martha Denny School. And as you can see by the image to the right, and what they're seeking to do is it's an all-encompassing kind of project or proposal, but they're trying to bring a singular entity into adult education, after-school tutoring, extracurricular activities, and other recreational programs for the youth in the community. So it's kind of a hybrid education, community enrichment project, which I believe I can speak on behalf of the commission of saying we were all pretty impressed by what they're proposing. Next, we have the Lawrence County EMS Center, or the EMS Medic One renovation, and I put the blueprint there. The total budget ask is $314,500, and that is renovating the current Medic One facility and allowing it to have improved sleeping facilities as well as an ambulance bay. They serve a wide area. I know it's for the city of Lawrence, but I know they respond to calls from a much wider radius. So this will allow them to continue with great efficiency, time to service, and providing a great service. Next, we have the Lawrence County Animal Shelter. Total budget ask of $280,000. And what this is seeking to do is to renovate the animal shelter to include a HVAC system, sound deadening, and new runs. When they presented, they informed us that the decibel readings were over 100. So this benefits the employees by introducing these new runs. So the risk from animal handling are decreased, as well as the risk of hearing damage. And I think the project would benefit both I don't know the proper terms, but the animals as well as the employees. Installation of an HVAC system to allow the better control of the environment. I think that would be a tremendous project. Next, we have the Lawrence County Trails Association. They were asking for $300,000, and that is paving a 1.7 mile long trail that is around the Lawrence County Hospital, and it will be open to the public for biking, hiking, and walking. This is an initial phase that they hope to eventually connect in with the Swamp Rabbit Trail. I think this is another wonderful project. Next, we have the Town of Gray Court. They're asking $891,220, and this is for the first phase of renovation of the park. And for this phase, what they're looking for is the construction of a parking lot, a north and south baseball field, a concession and restroom building, as well as picnic shelters. And let's see here. Next, we have the City of Clinton infrastructure. They're asking $6,528,443. This is an infrastructure project that goes from the repavement of city-owned streets, relocation of utility boxes to underground, and upgrading of water and sewage lines that are needing some repair. And let's see here. And next, we have the Orange County Sheriff's Evidence Storage Facility. Total budget asked was $1,964,250. And this is a construction of a new facility for the Sheriff's Department for evidence storage. Current facility is having some difficulty with maintaining evidence because as we learned that you have to maintain evidence for the duration of a person's sentence. So this new facility would be better equipped to maintain a proper environment and would better preserve evidence for long-term storage. And with that being said, any questions, comments, or concerns from council, or let me see how I stop this.
From council, Mr. Hughes.
Is this the order that will be presented on that?
Walter, did you hear Mr. McDaniel?
Yes, sir. So that will be, it will be a lot more concise than what I just said. It'll have basically a one-word description along with the total portion of the budget that is. So it'll be project name, project description, and the budget for it.
Okay, you said that is the correct order that will be listed.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the order that we're presenting to council.
Any other questions?
Did he say anything about item 5, or did I miss that?
Walter, Mr. Johnson asked about item number 5. Could you address that?
Yes, sir. Let me find out what order that is. I don't want.
That's the Fountain Inn infrastructure project.
I apologize. No, I did not, but I know it off the top of my head. They're asking for $900,000, and that is to renovate exit 22. And what they're saying is that there's a future potential for road congestion there as more infrastructure or more industry comes there. So what they're trying to do is move one of the secondary roads higher so 18-wheelers have a way to reroute, as well as installing stoplights on the western side of the interstate. And so that way they're expecting to go from handling about, I think right now they're at about 800 cars daily, and over the next 10 years, they're expecting over 24,000 car or vehicles to be passing through. So they're asking for what I believe is 900,000 off the top of my head. And that will be an infrastructure project for the city of Fountain Inn.
And Walter, how many projects were submitted and how many were recommended? Could you repeat that?
18 total were presented. One was denied for not following the proposal or the application guidelines, and one was outside of the budget and will be listed as an alternate. So 16 are what we've been using the term as in the money, as far as under that $35 million proposal budget. And so one is outside. Of course, if, for instance, we were able to raise 41.5 million, then that one project that was not within 35 would be able to be funded.
All right. Any other questions from council? Okay, thank you, Walter, and I'd like to thank you, your committee, for the work you've done. We certainly appreciate your time and effort, and the entire committee.
Well, thank y'all for your time. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Walter, we're getting ready to move into the action item as it relates to the ordinance.
Mhm.
The first reading for ordinance number 879, the capital project sales tax ordinance. By statute, this process, we had to form this committee, and then it would come to council in order to be get in the cycle to be placed on the ballot in November. It will require 3 readings. Is that right?
Three readings and public hearing.
Okay. So with that having been said, is there a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 879, the capital project sales tax ordinance?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? I'll be giving my right, your left. Mr. Carroll, Mr. McDaniel, Ms. Anderson.
I'd like to know, if we're gonna address this to the community, are we gonna do some other than just this? Are they prioritizing it and not having any more input from the community?
They have prioritized it. Walter, would you like to address that question?
I know it's prioritized, I see that part, but I'm wondering, is there any way possible that maybe looking at it by the community-wide, that some of these could be changed? Or third,
To answer that, we have had 6 months of meetings that have been held to the public. So we have been prioritizing this along with the community. We've hosted public sessions, done the best we can with trying to involve the community.
That was my main reason for the question, because of the Conduct 9 change. Is that I know a lot of people hadn't had an opportunity for some other input, and so that's what I was worried about, because the citizens might not have had an opportunity because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I understand that, and from what my understanding is, to get this to the state election commission and everything is kind of there's not a lot of time, is my understanding. That's the deadline we've been working with, is trying to get this done as quickly as we can, and that's to give Attorney Cruikshanks the appropriate amount of time to get this signed off from the state election commission. So it'd be, from my understanding, fairly difficult to change anything at this point. And of course, Attorney Cruikshanks, if I'm saying anything incorrect, please correct me.
You trained well. You're doing good. We do have a deadline of August the 14th to have this approved on 3 readings in public hearing and submitted. So once the ordinance is approved, Ms. Anderson, I guess the sales pitch, so to speak, to the community about these projects certainly can take place by the commission and others at that point in time. But they have had all of the community input that the commission felt was necessary in a very short period of time to get this prioritized as it is. The priority listing on there is the priority listing that the council will have to deal with based on the appointment of the commission. So the 16 rankings are the 16 rankings. And they all will be funded. That's, when Mr. Hughes said that they were in the money, that was one thing the commission did, was trying to get every project that was presented that would know that they would be funded. In other words, if this passes and if the referendum passes, the funds will be available for all 16 of these projects. They will not necessarily go in the order. It's going to be, depends on who's ready to move and all, but all 16 of these will be funded. So that was one of the goals that they had. I thought the commission did an unbelievably good job of making sure that all these were funded.
I agree also, but that's what I was worried about, though. If
The
the
ranking
priority
order.
list is not gonna change.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wood?
I've got an opinion, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody about this thing. It kind of goes along with what Ms. Anderson said, that when this commission was appointed of 6 people, these 6 people were supposed to represent all sections of this Lawrence County. That's not what happened. There was 4 people put on this commission from the Clinton area. It got political real quick. The Reed River runs right through the middle of Lawrence County. There's nobody on the other side of the Reed River on this commission. I'm talking about from Waterloo, Lake Greenwood, Mount Olive, Mount Gallagher, Bruden Community, Frenchman Community, Hickory Tavern Community, Green Pond Community. There's nobody on this commission. And the priority list shows this. Clinton Library is second on this list, on with the parks and recreation items. If this tax is passed, it should benefit everyone in this county, not just a chosen few.
this library was put ahead of repairs to this courthouse. This courthouse been needing repairs for 20 years. It's desperately needed. That would benefit everybody in this county. This is a historical building here. It was put ahead of the Ag Center that would benefit all of this county, all these kids in 4-H and FFA and all showing their horses and goats and pigs and whatever else. We haven't got a fairgrounds anymore. It's ahead of the 911 radios that are needed for the safety of the citizens of this county. It was put ahead of EMS renovations in a building that is a #1 disgrace for this county for these EMS workers to work out of. This building or something to do for the EMS workers was #1 priority 7 years ago. This library was put ahead of that. And ahead of an evidence storage facility with the sheriff's department, it's been very much needed for several years. It's last on the list. To give out money, it won't never be built. Clinton got a library. That library is serving the purpose in Clinton. It might not be a Taj Mahal, but it is more important than the items I mentioned. We talk about location. People in Clinton can't drive Lawrence. What about the people who live where I do? It's further from where I live to the library than it is from Clinton to this library. When Greenwood built a new library, they downsized their library in square footage. People use the internet more now instead of going to the library. And I have to ask a question. I'm gonna back up to the EMS building. These people sleeping in cubby holes. We got power that's not sufficient down there to heat these trucks up when they start in cold weather. Lack of parking. Storage of drugs. We got drugs and other things stored in little outbuildings, buildings, little lots on it. It ought to be addressed first. I just have to ask why the library is so much more important than these things I mentioned. That's all I got.
Yes, sir. And to respond to your question, there was a Ridge meeting held back in September 2019. The Clinton Public Library was voted, I believe it was the second highest priority by the citizens that were gathered at that meeting. So we took that into consideration. In addition, other municipalities that were not represented, I have encouraged every single person that has reached out. Like I said, 16 out of 18 projects presented were approved. If a municipality did not submit anything, I cannot write an application for them. So that is getting directly back to community involvement. We went off that the list from the Ridge meetings, as well as public input of what's important to the citizens. And that's what was ranked. And that's what we went off of.
Okay, Mr. Young?
The estimated revenue of this was like 30-something million.
The Department of Revenue estimated million was in excess of 50 million. Correct, Mr. Kane?
That's incorrect. It was 51 million over 8 years. This is for 35 million over 6 years.
Just 35 million is what?
35 million over 6 years. But Mr. Patterson, the letter from the Department of Revenue was in excess of 50 million.
For 8 years, but this is for 6.
Correct.
And I added those numbers up today, and it's $36,338,724.
Well, I'm kinda like Mr. Joe, it's like Clinton's getting 30% of this, and the rest of the county's got to divvy up the rest of it. And since I've been here, the EMS has been needing a decent place to do their work. And the line right below it, the cats and dogs are getting about the same thing the EMS is getting. So, I don't know, it's kind of lopsided in some ways for me.
Okay. Mr. Patterson?
First, I'd like to say I share the sentiments with Mr. Johnson, Mr. Wood. I know y'all worked hard on this, and all of these projects are admirable, but I will be with them. I don't agree necessarily with the order they were placed in, but I do appreciate y'all's hard work, and I'm sure y'all were tugged at in many different directions. I do have a few questions about the ordinance, and my first one will be directed at the county administrator.
Section 5.22 says, to effect the intent of this ordinance, the council authorizes the county administrator to retain the law firm of Parker, Poe, Adams, and Bernstein as a bond counsel and financial advisors from Stifel, Nicholas and Company Incorporated. How did you settle on those particular entities? Okay.
I have to defer to the county attorney, but I believe the bond counsel issue was brought to council at a meeting just recently, was it
So
not?
this is who we regularly use. Then.
Yes, these are the, Stifel was approved by the council as our financial advisors probably 2 years ago, I think, when Compass ran into some legal difficulties.
Okay.
And Parker Poe has been assisting us through the entire process.
Okay.
And they were bond counsel on the Hillcrest fund.
My next statement / question, I'm adamantly against the bond funding of this tax. I'm a pay-as-you-go, we like to do in this county, and we finally gotten there with our capital. And I'd like to see a state that way with capital, including this capital tax. My concern is you look at what Greenwood ran into, where they budgeted too high and they kind of caught themselves in the pants down. When council was originally presented with this proposal, we were told we were in excess of $51 million over 8 years. And when I read in here, which I'm told we cannot change, we're back down to a 6-year sunset on the tax. And I have the paper right here from the Department of Revenue. And the projected revenue for 6 years is $36,338,7.4, which is 96.32% of what's being asked. I'm real concerned. That's awful close, in my opinion, to the total. I like that 60% figure a heck of a lot better when it was originally presented, as far as if this was going to move forward. But just bonding out in general, I'm not a fan of, and I'm sure not a fan that it is this tight in figures. And I believe that's all I have.
Mr. Hughes, would you like to comment on any of that, your committee?
No, sir.
Okay.
Wait.
That's fine. Okay, are there any other comments or questions from council? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And those in opposition, like sign. Motion passes 4-3 with council members Patterson, Yance, and Wood in opposition. Next is a public hearing for ordinance number 875, fiscal year 2021 budget. At this time, I will open the public hearing for anyone to speak for or against ordinance number 875. Seeing no one, hearing no one, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve ordinance number 875, fiscal year 2020-2021 budget for Lawrence County.
So moved.
Second.
There is a motion by Mr. McDaniel and a second by Ms. Anderson. At this time, I will open the floor for discussion. I'll be going my right, your left, Mr. Carroll.
Good, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McDaniel.
You'll cover.
Ms. Anderson.
Pass.
Mr. Wood.
This budget's got 11, these two budgets have got 11 new hires in it. If that's not growing government, I don't know what is. It's also got an increase of $10 for each car in this county. And this is during a year with unemployment and this virus going around, and I did not agree with it.
Mr. Yance. Mr. Patterson.
I'd like to say thank you, first off, to the county administrator and all the department heads who worked very hard on getting this budget to us, as well as my fellow council members for the hours we spent coming through it. I do want to also say I'm glad that we elected to give back all of the local option sales tax money to our county residents this year. That will be a tax decrease slightly in the form of a rebate. I would like to make one amendment, if I may, everybody's done commenting. Section, it's on the second page, it's 3B, part 3. It's for a fee of $25 per registered vehicle to fund the roads rehabilitation and paving department. I feel like the road fee is used for a lot more than just the road rehabilitation and paving department. In years past, it's when I went back and looked, the county budget just read road fee, X number of dollars per registered vehicle. And that was it. It did not specify where it went. So I would actually like to amend that to say road fee of $15 per registered vehicle. And that's section 3, part B, part 3. And that would be, I make the motion to amend that.
All right, there's a motion to amend this. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it, Mr.
Because that's
Bass.
on the second page of the top. Number 3 on that second page, verse 3, still.
So the amended motion would read as follows: the road fee of $15.
Per registered vehicle.
Okay, period. So in essence, removing the $10 increase, is that right?
Removing the $10 increase and the part that says to fund the road rehabilitation and paving work.
Okay. All right, you've heard the recommendation or the motion. Is there a second?
I got a question. We were gonna raise the $10 road fee in order to get paving good, right?
That's my understanding. Yes, sir.
Is this what we're talking about here?
Yes, sir. That's what the motion is now, to reduce it from 25 as presented to $15. Is that correct, Mr. Patrick?
Where it's currently, that's correct.
All right.
So we, are we not gonna have that road fee back as quickly?
If the motion passes and then the amended motion passes as the full budget, it would not be there, correct?
We would not get the equipment that we've been trying to get.
That is correct.
I'll say.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Wood. Now I'll open the floor for discussion. This time I'll begin my left, your right, Mr. Patterson.
I have nothing further than my motion. Thank you.
Mr. Yons. Ms. Wood.
It's just not the year to do this, that's the way I look at it, you know. As I mentioned before, unemployment, and this virus going around, people out of work, it's just not the time to do this.
Ms. Anderson.
I think it was a consensus of the council that for the past several years, I don't even know the number, that's why I said several, that we've been asked to fix the roads. My car's out of line, the roads are bad, and we need our road fixed. And the only way that we can do this is by the road fix. We get money back from the state, which goes to the CTC, and that will not fix all these roads in Lawrence County. Now, if the citizens do not want the road fixed, it's all right with me. They want to leave them the way they are. But we can't complain and complain and complain and not be willing to fix it. And this is the only way we know how to get it done. And so that's why it was brought before the council. And I'm thinking in prior years, I don't know exactly what we're paying now for a road fee. How much is it?
$15.
And so that will remain the same, and we cannot do the same with the same. And this is the only way we can do it, so I feel like we need to continue with the process that we are going, try to make it better for, the citizen. If they say something about, they don't like it, then we just say we don't need to do anything for the road, and maybe, be happy.
Ms. McDaniel.
No comment.
Mr. Carey.
I'll kind of echo what Ms. Anderson said, in as much as my issues when I wanted to run for this office too, were we had infrastructure problems that we need to address. We can certainly remove that and kick it down the road again until there's a better time. That will never happen. So the monies we get from the state will pay for some state roads, but they don't address our county roads, and this is how we're going to address some of the county roads.
I do have a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Patterson.
I would like to ask Mr. King, do you have off the top of your head how much we did get from the state last year that went towards county roads or Dale?
Dale, I may or may not know, I want to say, we put 660,000 towards county roads.
Okay, so we do get some money from the CTC funds.
We have gotten money, and the long range plan that we put together for county council showed that money has historically not been enough, which is why we have a $40 million problem with our roads now. And at that current CTC level, that problem will grow to $100 million problem in a decade.
Yeah, and I'd also like to say, Ms. Anderson, I get calls just like you on the roads, and I've been on council for, let's see, 10 months, give or take. And I've probably gotten, let's say, 24 calls about road issues. Out of those 24, one of them was actually a county road. So I do have the citizens, the constituents that are listening, if this does not change, it is only for county roads. And when Dell and the folks at Roads and Bridges work on roads, it is only county roads. So we cannot fix 308 or 72 that beats my brains out on the way to Chester. I mean, I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is, when county works on roads, it's only county roads. Like I said, out of 24, I only got one that was a county road, and that one I actually got 2 weeks ago. So, just, I hope everybody keeps that in mind as we're looking at this.
All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. We are voting to reduce the recommendation from $25 to $15. That's the motion that has been properly seconded. So this time I will call for the vote for the motion. All in favor of reducing it from $25 to $15? That's not how the motion is worded. Repeat the motion, please, Mr. Patterson. I'm sorry.
I guess to change the road fee from $15 to, from $25 to $15 per registered vehicle.
Okay.
And delete the sentence to fund the road rehabilitation of Tatum Park.
Okay. So all in favor of said motion by Mr. Patterson, signify by raising your right hand. Those in opposition with like sign. Motion fails 4-3 with council members Patterson, Wood, and Pitts in opposition. Now we are back to the original budget. Is there a motion for third and final reading to approve the FY21 Lawrence County budget? We already have a motion. I apologize. So this time we can call for the vote. Is that correct, Mr. Cruikshank?
Is there any other amendments?
Are there any other amendments?
Another comment.
Yes.
While I cannot support everything in this budget, I will be voting in favor of this entirety because there are a lot of good parts to this budget.
Any other comments or questions by council? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the FY21 Lawrence County budget, signify by raising your right hand. And those in opposition would like sign. Motion passes 7-1. Councilmember Wood in opposition.
6-1.
6-1. Sorry. Next is the public hearing for ordinance number 876, FY21, the Fire Special Purpose Tax District. This time I will open the public hearing for anyone to speak for or against ordinance number 876. Seeing no one and hearing no one, I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve ordinance number 876 on third and final reading.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patterson, is there a second? Second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. And those in opposition, like sign. Motion passes 6-1 with Councilmember Wood in opposition. Next is a public hearing for ordinance number 877 for FY21 local option sales tax. This time I will open the public hearing for anyone to speak for or against ordinance number 877. Hearing or seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and this time entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 877 FY21 local option sales tax. So motion by Mr. Patterson, is there a second? Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion by council?
I'll make a comment. I just want to say thank you for council for considering the citizens and issuing all this money back to them. I know Mr. Wood's fought for years and to get us to do this, and I'm thankful we were able to accomplish it this year.
Any others?
I said to start with, I couldn't see the purpose of this ordinance. We giving somebody back something that's already there. The local option sales tax belongs to the taxpayers in this county. That's penny sales tax. In the county, it's got an option to take 14% of that. Why do you need an ordinance to give something back to somebody that it already belongs to? I mean, I just don't understand the order. I mean, the way that thing read in the newspaper, that public notice, it made it sound like that the county was, the money was already the county's. I mean, and I don't agree with putting, if you're gonna take the local option sales tax, I don't see putting it in with an ordinance for the budget reading, for the budget ordinance. We always, when it was taken, it was always done with a separate ordinance number, and then all of a sudden it showed up in the budget this year. And then we decided not to take it, which I fully agree with not taking it. But it's just like I said, you giving somebody back something that it already belongs to. I agree with giving it back to them. We don't need to take it. Only time we need to take it is if it's in the case of an emergency or something. Don't write it into the budget just cause you can. And that's the way it's been done the last several years.
I'm ready. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of ordinance number 877 on third and final reading, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is the approval of the Northern Emergency Services Station building design. This time I recognize Mr. Dale Satterfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Council. In your packet is a architectural drawing, street view of completing the Northern Emergency Services Station, adding the third bay, which is on the right side of that drawing that you're looking at, and completing the inside of the building to include the training room, sleeping rooms, day room, and training room complete with bathrooms. What I wanted to do this evening is bring to you, because we took it very seriously, and adding this third bay, we wanted the design to give the impression that it was built that way from day one. I think the architect from Davis and Floyd done a great job in designing how we would add that third bay, and it looks like it was a complete design to begin with. So we just wanted to bring that to you for your approval.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve the design of the Northern Emergency Services Station building?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McDaniel.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
This is the station up at the CF.
Yes, sir.
Did they ever finish the other part and get moved in?
That is, the sheriff department is in the building. EMS has been stationed in the building and has used it, but it is occupied. Yes, sir.
And it's functional.
It is functional,
But it's not finished.
but it's not finished.
What needs to be finished on it?
We will complete the interior building to include the training room, day room, the sleeping quarters, complete with a fire sprinkler system, because you have people that will be sleeping that are on shifts in there, and then add the third bay on the other end. That will complete the building.
But it's in the works to finish up. I mean, money there to finish it.
Yes, sir. We were fortunate that through the Development Corporation that we could get 80% grant funding to complete this building.
So it's gonna be finished.
Yes, sir.
People in it, it's working.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Dale? We've got a motion that's been properly seconded. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving this design, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next, under new business was an added item, and that is discussion of public meetings and allowing the public access to the chambers during council meetings during this pandemic. It has been brought to my attention that we need to have this discussion and the proper ways to have it open. So at this time, I'll open the floor for council members. As you can see, we currently have the building open. During the meetings, there was a directive, I believe is the proper word, that we've approved to allow the county administrator more flexibility during this pandemic. He asked that we have this discussion. So at this time, I will open the floor for any council members for your comments as it relates to the way we are currently operating during the pandemic. I'll begin. Anyone who would like to speak?
I ain't got a problem with. I think in the interest of transparency, we should definitely let people in, and I think we should definitely do all safety measures that we can, including mandatory masks.
I like to see us do a little bit more social distancing. At least try to comply with what the CDC has asked us to try to comply with, just to keep the coronavirus down. Only because we are at the point now where we are moving up, and we want to make sure we just keep it stable, so everything can remain open and we can have that a new norm. It won't be normal in what we used to have, quote unquote normal. But I feel like we need to be respectful of each other and make sure that we're just kind of complying with what we need to do. And I would like to see sometimes, if possible, if the number gets too large, that you would have to have a certain number or something of who can come in, and when it meets that number, that's when we have to cut it off. Social distancing is a good thing.
I'll say something.
Anybody else?
Sure. I definitely don't think we need to be restricting access to public buildings, especially at this point. Since we agreed to begin opening them back up, I would agree with maybe some social distancing. There used to be exits on the seats. Are they still there? Maybe we, ask if they are willing to observe that, but I'm sure I'm not gonna tell anybody to move or get out of the building personally. And I would, with all due respect, Mr. McDaniel, I'm not in favor of masks, forcing people to wear masks. However, we are welcome to encourage them, and if someone so chooses, absolutely, by all means, please wear them if you feel it is a necessity, but I don't think we should force that.
And I'll just have a few comments about it. My philosophical belief is that it's the people's building, and once we open for business, it is the people's building to attend. So I'm not for limiting the access. However, I do recognize there are some guidelines and some safety issues that we should take into consideration. My daily life, we really are considering that as we are 1 month away from the school opening, and we don't know what that's going to look like or what it's going to be like or feel like. We're trying to work through that, and I think that's the same thing that municipalities and counties face. Is what is, how much access do we do, and so forth and so on. I don't have the right answer, I can tell you that. I think it takes a collective group of us. Mr. Avery did ask me to pass along the numbers, because he is he's preparing as we speak for a COVID-19 testing site. He simply asked that they use the student parking lot on the campus of Flint High School, which they are doing. The school district has nothing to do with it. Mr. Avery is conducting that in conjunction with Carolina Health, I believe. They have 500 tests. They are free. It will be tomorrow from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the campus of Flint High School. The numbers as of today, according to Mr. Avery, positive cases 172 in the county, 85 in zip code 29325 of Clinton, and 54 cases in 29360 or Lawrence. That was just information he asked me to pass along to each of you. Having that discussion, is there a motion by anyone to change the way we are conducting our business for the county?
I'd like to make a motion for during council meetings to allow the public to continue. However, I think we may make it mandatory to recognize social distancing rules as well as mandatory masks.
There is a motion by Mr. McDaniel to allow access to the building, however, requiring mandatory masks. I say that correctly, and social distance, correct? Is there a second from anyone?
Second.
There's a second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion?
I will say that respiratory protection compliance is going to be based on personal choice. And I don't want to mandate respiratory protection. I want to have it available and they can use it, and certainly support them in using that. But there are people who have a desire to be here that also do not want to wear masks or refuse, and it's their right to. So I have a concern with that.
Any others?
You want to amend it, Gary? I mean, listen to that, Gary?
I believe my motion is staying, somebody else is welcome to.
Any other comments?
I agree with Jeff on the mask. If we make that, if this passes, the sheriff's gonna have to haul me out of here in 2 weeks. I'm not gonna wear one.
No, amend it, then, you don't want to amend it?
Okay, this time I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as presented by Mr. McDaniel, signify by raising your right hand. And those in opposition with like signs. Motion fails 5-2 with council members Patterson, Young, Wood, Pitts, and Carroll in opposition. Moving along,
I'd like to make a motion
yes, ma'am, go ahead.
at our future meeting, that we practice social distancing, but it's left up to the individual as to whether to wear a mask or not.
There's a motion by Ms. Anderson to continue practicing social distancing, but mask wearing would be optional. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any comments?
I have a question. So just for us 7 up here, we need 42 feet plus our body widths, which we don't have. So that requires us to move and sit in different places.
Good point.
Well, you didn't clarify what you considered social distancing. I mean, generally people said 6 foot, but that's not.
I'm looking at more so, I guess, because we've been not practicing social distancing, but I really think that we really need to. I'm the only one that try to make them do this, but asking to do it, and I can't make anybody ask. But at least for the people for the public, for the general public who comes in.
I think we have the X's on the seats. I'd be willing to take off every other row if that would make people feel more comfortable. I think we still have enough space based on who's in attendance this evening.
Based on whatever what did we use? I think Joey did, though, did Joey do it?
I think you're right. I think Mr. Baker did do that.
That was part of the voter registration folks. They did that for the use of this room.
Okay. All right, we have a motion that has been properly seconded. I'll call for the vote and restate the motion by Ms. Anderson to continue practicing social distancing, but the wearing of masks would be optional. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0.
Just as a clarification, council, I'm hearing that we need to place X's on the seats, tape X's on the seats and tape off every other row.
I think that was a suggestion of Mr. Patterson. I don't think it was an actual part of the motion.
Okay, I'm just still confused as to what council's intentions are when you mention social distancing. Is that just, we encourage social distancing is what we're doing?
Terms spread out.
We're just encouraging social distancing. We're not mandating any kind of social distancing.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we move into public comment time. We have 15 minutes set aside for anyone to speak for council. So, do we have anyone signed up? Mr. Crookshanks and Ms. Walsh.
Mr. Chairman, as a member of the Sales Tax Commission, would you give me just a moment to address some issues since Mr. Hughes is no longer on?
Yes, sir.
I didn't sign up because I didn't realize.
I think within the rule we can do that. Is that right, Mr. Crookshanks? You the chair. I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Appreciate the time. I just wanted to mention that we've worked diligently over the past couple of months trying to prioritize these projects. We've listened to each group as they come in. As Mr. Hughes said, we couldn't create projects. We took what came to the table. We listened to those projects, made sure that they were following within the regulations of the application. Proud to say that we accepted all of those projects. One was, I guess, pending the revenue that comes in with the EMS station. But there's 2 points that I want to make, or 2 sides of the coin when it comes to this issue. There's the policy issue, which you were addressing tonight. And then there's a political side of this sales tax. It has to be sold to the people. So you have to approve it to get it on the ballot. But we've got to make sure if it gets on the ballot that people are going to approve it if we're going to move forward with it. That was the purpose behind the prioritization of these. Doesn't mean that Clinton is more important than Ware Shoals, and it doesn't mean that the sheriff's office evidence room is not as important as splash parks. Every one of those projects will be funded with the sales tax that comes in. But there's a whole avenue that has to be considered when it comes to what is the perception of these projects when it comes to the constituency. And that's why we look at those. So there was no prioritization based off of where it was or what it was. We did that based on the way we thought that the public would accept those projects and vote on them. So just wanted to make that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. No one else has signed up at this time. It's now time for county council comments, and I'm going to begin. At this time, I'd like to recognize Sandy Cruikshank. Today's his birthday. And would like to wish him happy birthday. And I believe he has in excess of 25 years of service as county attorney. Is that correct?
27.
27 years.
This is the 33rd anniversary of my 39th birthday. Do the best.
Well, certainly happy birthday.
Thank you.
Second thing is I would like to thank Ms. Runyon and her folks for the work they've done to provide these mini grants for small businesses, and publicly thank Mr. Hughes and his committee for the work that they have done. Thank Mr. Satterfield for finishing out that emergency services building and others, Mr. Kamey. And lastly, I want to echo what Mr. Patterson said. Thank you, council, for working together diligently through this budgeting process for FY21. Those are my comments. At this time, I'll be giving my right, your left, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you're allocating resources, taxpayers' monies, there are a lot of opinions because everybody has a different view of what's going on. But I hope that when we pass this, that it's acceptable to the entire county as a way to try and push us forward. We had some issues that each of us disagreed on fundamentally, but all came together to make sure we did the right thing for the county. So I was happy with that.
Mr. McDaniel.
We have a very difficult task on council of managing the allocated funds with the services to the community. I think we did the best we could this year. I think we did an excellent job. I think there's some great things coming in the pipeline for the future of Lawrence County. I just hope we continue to make the progress that we've seen this year and just make this a better town and make this a better county.
Ms. Anderson.
I have to agree with my co-workers right here with me, that we did work very diligently on the budget. I thank all the department heads for what they did. And I know everybody's not happy. Don't believe everybody's happy. But everybody is able to respect each other to the place that we want to move forward. I think our whole goal is that we do what is best for Lawrence County. And I think that's what we did in the end. That everything we did for the best of Lawrence County and the citizens that we serve.
Okay. Mr. Wood.
I put on Facebook about 2 or 3 weeks ago that we're having all these rallies. I thought we need to have a rally for our law enforcement in this county. And I got a lot of hits on it. And a lady called me and she's got it all organized. I've done no legwork whatsoever on the thing, and it's gonna be Saturday afternoon from 4 to 5 o'clock in Public Square here in Lawrence. And that's gonna be support for Clemens Law Enforcement, Sheriff's Department, Lawrence Police Department. I do a budget.
This Saturday,
Yeah.
what is that, June the
27.
7th?
27.
June the 27th, from 4 to 5?
4 to 5 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you for that, I didn't know that. Anything else? Mr. Wood?
No, I guess.
Mr. Young?
Motion.
Mr. Patterson?
Yeah, I do have one question that neglected to ask earlier on the bond issuances, Mr. Kirkshine. It's true, 27 years, you've done a bunch of them here. With fees, and then I heard you mention to Mr. McDaniel earlier, there'll be multiple issuances. It's not just like one big $35 million bond, it's going to be multiple. Do you have a projected idea of the fees and interest we'll be paying?
The way we've structured this, Mr. Patterson, is so that essentially you'll have one $35 million bond, but you'll have bond anticipation notes that will float along. So you're not going to pull down $35 million at one time because of the cost. But the way we've structured it so that once it is, the bond issue is approved, we don't have to go back to legal counsel, bond counsel, every time we do one. It's all built into the projected numbers. I can get those to you. I don't have those offhand.
500,000, 2 million.
Won't be 2 million. I would think we probably with the finance part we have to have and the bond issue would probably be in the $100,000 range, would be my guess.
All right, that's my question. Then my public comments, I want to speak up as the only City of Lawrence resident on council as far as this capital project sales tax. If you notice in the list, there was nothing for the City of Lawrence on the list, minus maybe a little park or something. That was because there was it's my understanding, a gentleman's agreement basically that the City of Lawrence would not submit a project and that this building right here would be finished fully. And at some point in time in the process, it got cut in half. And I personally don't think that's fair to the City of Lawrence that held back in hopes that this building, which is the center of Lawrence City, would get taken care of. And I just wanted to say that publicly. And then also as the council, I personally feel lied to and deceived after I was given a figure of $51 million from multiple people, and that we were at a 60% capacity of our projected revenues to show up tonight and read this and find out that we're at 96.32% of our projected revenues. That is extremely tight and extremely dangerous, in my opinion. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. The last comments I would like to make, we've had an election and I would like to congratulate some people. First of all, Ms. Anderson, presumed the winner of her seat. Congratulations. Also, I believe Mr. Rankin is in the audience who has won the seat. Congratulations to you. And Mr. Tribble has won his primary. Oh, I saw David here. You left? He will have opposition in November. But congratulate him. Oh, he didn't have opposition. I'm sorry. I forgot about you. Congratulations, Mr. Daniel. And the last person I really want to thank for his public service is Mr. Joe Wood. It's evident that he cares for this county deeply. We certainly appreciate your service. But most importantly, personally for me, I count you as a dear friend. I've said it publicly and privately that you remind me of my dad, and that's the highest compliment I can give. And so
I'm gonna have to respond to that.
I certainly thank you for your service to this county, both in the fire service and on this council. So thank you, Mr. Wood.
I basically, I'd say beat myself. Congratulations, Mr. Rankin. I said when this thing started that I was not gonna put the safety of anybody in my district I wasn't gonna put a campaign ahead of the safety of people in my district, and I did not. I did not check on the first day. I talked to a few people, I put about 40 signs out, and half of those disappeared the next day, but that's just the way it works. But I didn't really work for it. But I felt like I done pretty good. People spoke. I lost by 153 votes, out of 2,000, and I don't think that was a landslide. I'm perfectly all right with it. Perfectly all right. And I appreciate, well, I still got, what, 6 months?
Yes, sir.
But what you see is what you get with me. And I don't talk behind somebody's back. If I got something to say to somebody, I'll say it to their face. There were some circumstances that happened that I won't get into that, but I'm happy for Mr. Ryan. That's all I got to say.
With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to enter executive session for a workers' compensation legal matter. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr.
Motion by Mr. Patterson. Second by Ms. Anderson. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes 7-0. The time is 6:56. We will enter executive session at 7:05.
Will that be here or will you?
We will convene executive session in this building. We will ask, in this room, ask everyone to depart. We will come back into open session, once we finish, and it will be, Ms. Tammy has told me that she will pause that and then turn it back on when we come back into open session. Certainly, thank you for your time and attendance.
I need to get some signatures.
Good, okay.
Thank you, Tammy.
The time, I can't read, 7:22 PM. We are back in open session. At this time, I entertain any motions resulting from the executive session discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, we authorize our county attorney to comply with and settle the financial obligation of the mediation agreement discussed.
There's a motion by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Patterson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. And those in opposition, like sign. Motion passes 6-1. Councilwoman Anderson in opposition. This time I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. McDaniel, second. Second by Mr. Carroll. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. 7-2, we are adjourned.